All right, you guys wanted to see me respond code 3, right? So... all right, is that enough? I get a little bit more, a little bit more. All right, so did that scratch the itch that everybody has? Probably not, and I get it, but in this video, I am going to talk to you guys and explain why you don't see me respond code 3 in the videos that I make and why it's something I try to do as little as possible. At the end, I'm gonna have a little bit of a story about an incident that happened to me early on in my career where if things had gone a little bit differently, somebody would have actually lost their life as a result of me responding code 3. All right, now one of the other things that we're gonna talk about in this video that I've been talking to you guys about and a couple of the other ones and leading up to them, just behind like always, is the 50,000 subscriber giveaway. So that's going to be announced right now officially in this video. The Gauls sponsored giveaway, there's over $500 worth of gear in there. I'm going to be giving away as a celebration to 50,000 subscribers and trying to give a little something back to you guys like I enjoy doing and thanking you for all of your support. The instructions are going to be as simple as they are all the other times. Basically, all you need to do is leave a like on this video and leave a comment below saying that you want in. The way I have decided to do it, if you watch the live stream, and if you haven't, you can go back and check it out. I go through every item in the giveaway and show it on camera so you guys know what's involved in this package. There's a lot of stuff. What I have decided to do is I'm going to break it up into 3 giveaways. There's enough gear into this thing that I'm going to have a first, second, and third place, so to speak, prize, and not just give the entire lump sum to one person. I think there's enough here that we can spread it out so there's a little bit more opportunity for everybody to partake in this. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay, so I get it. You're a cop. You have a cop car. You have stickers on the side. You have lights on the top, flashing. You got a siren. It's like one of the fun parts of the job, right? That's what a lot of people want to get into this profession to be able to do and say, I'm a cop. I get to drive around with my lights and sirens on. And I get it. And you know, there was a period of time that I was there too early on in my career. This is one of these things where if you do this job right and you grow with it and learn, you'll find that responding code 3 or in emergency mode, like people refer to it, becomes less and less of an importance in the realization of the dangers involved. In reality, probably the 3 most dangerous things you'll do as a law enforcement officer are traffic stops, respond to domestic violence calls, and drive in emergency mode. For those of you who don't know, there is a website. It's called odmp.com. It stands for the Officer Down Memorial Page, and it's a website designated to honoring and talking about officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty. It's also a statistics-driven website where they keep track of all of the stats of the reasons why officers have lost their lives in the line of duty. And if you look at it in years past, as far back as I could find, the top 2 reasons of in the line of duty deaths are vehicle crashes and gunshots. And you would think, okay, gunshots is going to be number 1, maybe driving second, whatever. You'll find actually a good number of the years, driving is actually the number 1 killer of officers in the line of duty and not gunshot related. Something you're going to learn in the academy as well is the risk versus reward when it comes to responding code 3. One of the things that they will teach you and talk to you about and try to get you to understand and think about is if you are responding to a call in emergency mode, the idea is that somebody needs help and you're trying to get there quicker. What they pitch to you is if you outdrive the ability of your driving skill or maybe what the car can handle and you end up getting into a crash along the way, take away any injury that might occur to you or another citizen, you have now created an issue because you can no longer respond to this call. Your vehicle's wrecked, crashed on the side of the road, you can't continue on, and depending on the severity of it, now you're going to utilize the resources of another officer, if not 2, and a supervisor that's going to have to come to the scene of your accident now and work a crash investigation. Everything you were trying to accomplish to help somebody, you've now actually completely undone that and created more work for somebody else. So it's something that a lot of people don't think about, but when you're driving in emergency mode, you are increasing the risks of something like a traffic accident involving yourself to go up substantially. Now, we would all like to think that the public sees these bright flashing lights and they hear our loud siren and they're gonna just pull over to the side of the road and the seas are gonna part and you're gonna drive right through and there's not gonna be any issues. Well, let me tell you, that's not the case, not even close. So you run into several factors when it comes to responding in emergency mode that most people don't know. The first being at speeds above 50 miles an hour, which isn't really that fast, you actually outdrive your siren. Now, I know somebody's in the comments already saying, Mikey Mo, that's impossible. The speed of sound is 767 miles per hour. You can't do that. I get it, all right? What I'm referring to when you say you outdrive your siren and what they'll teach you in the academy is you outdrive the effective use of the siren, which means at speeds above 50 miles an hour, by the time another vehicle can even hear the siren from your cruiser, you have closed a gap on them that they literally do not even have the time to hear the siren, have it register in their brain of what it is, and then react to that by the time you have actually gotten up to their vehicle. So this creates the problem of people aren't getting out of your way. You're having to slow down, wait for them to move. Some people panic in situations like this. I had a situation where somebody actually pulled off to the side of the road, and as I was coming up on them for some unknown reason, they decided to make a left-hand turn in front of me and actually make a U-turn in front of my cruiser and try to go the other way, and I almost T-boned them. Fortunately, I was able to lock up the brakes, slid a little bit, no collision, and we moved on. So that's actually a different story than the one that I was going to tell you towards the end of this video, but people do insane things when it comes to seeing an emergency vehicle in the rearview mirror and hearing that siren and seeing those lights. So you can't control what other people are going to do, so you have a lot of things going on. Now, mind you, you're still having to monitor radio traffic, know the directions of where you're going, possibly glancing at your computer, all while driving at speeds exceeding the speed limit in an area like where I work, a congested city. Lots of side streets, lots of places for cars, people, bicyclists to come out in front of you, so the hazards increase greatly. And to follow up even more with that, a study that was done recently showed that in your average vehicle nowadays with the windows up, the range of being able to hear an emergency siren is 26 to 40 feet away. So you have to be within 40 feet of a vehicle at a maximum range and possibly all the way up to 26 feet for the driver of a vehicle to even be able to hear these sirens. Now combine that with what we were just talking about, traveling at speeds of 50 miles an hour, you're closing a 40-foot gap in a second, 2 seconds possibly. I mean, you are on top of that vehicle in no time, and they have absolutely no time to react to that. Now, while we're on the topic about the sirens and people not being able to hear them, another thing that happens for most officers, which makes it even more difficult for them to understand why these people are not moving, is you have to remember that siren is mounted in the front bumper of your car. You can hear it. You can hear it loud as day. You get in this mode of kind of blinders that you're driving down the road, you're hauling butt, and you can hear this siren loud as can be, and you're pulling up to these cars and they're not moving, and you're like, what in the are they doing? Why aren't they moving? It's so loud. They can't hear it. That's another thing where younger officers get kind of a big misunderstanding of how little other people can actually hear it because it's so loud to them. All right, so now one of the other reasons, and probably the main reason why you don't see me respond code 3 in the videos that I have on here is, and I would hope some of you would understand this, the calls I've gone to absolutely do not require an emergency response. A lot of these calls that I show you guys are the simple, mundane, day-to-day things that we do on a regular basis, which are not high caliber criminal investigations or anything in progress or needing the police to respond with lights and sirens. Basically, aside from in-progress calls, like maybe an in-progress burglary, an in-progress physical fight, things that are going on, we are not going to respond in emergency mode to these calls. There's absolutely no reason to. There's no reason to put the public in any more danger than needs to be for some minor problem of other people. And you have to think about it like this. Would you want the cops causing an accident, potentially running into your car or having another car try to get out of their way and crashes into you because we're going to a BS trespass at McDonald's? I'm pretty sure not. So that's what a lot of this stuff boils down to. The videos that I show you guys, they're not going to warrant a code 3 response to them. They're just very minor calls. In reality, I'd have to tell you guys, on average, I maybe code once a week. Sure, you're gonna have some times where you code to 4 calls a night, but you might go an entire week, 2 weeks, and the calls that you go to or the things that are happening in your district just don't need a code 3 response. So once again, like, one of the main goals of this channel and the things that I try to teach you guys is what the real world of police work is like 90% of the time. It's not what you see on live PD. It's not what you see on cops, where almost every video they have in there, they're responding code 3 to, because those are the hot calls. Those are the exciting calls. That's the stuff that people, want to see. That's what's going to get the ratings, right? And I mentioned it in one of my other videos, and I'll go ahead and repeat it in this. For those who don't know, the show Cops, I watched a little documentary on it years back, and what they said is, on average, they would film for 30 days, an entire month, in order to have enough usable footage for one 30-minute episode that they would put on there. And that's a 30-minute episode plus commercials. So realistically, you've only got maybe 15 to 20 minutes worth of footage out of that. That was an entire month of filming just to come up with those hot calls and that action to be able to put on broadcast TV and get the ratings and show everybody this exciting side of law enforcement. So again, I know for a lot of my younger followers and people are super excited about this career, it may not be what you want to hear in this video, but like I've said all along, I shoot straight with you guys. The whole idea of this channel is for the learning aspect and trying to bust a few of the myths about law enforcement and show you what we do on a normal basis, and that we aren't just a bunch of cowboys driving with our lights and sirens on 100 miles an hour everywhere we go just because we can. It just doesn't work that way. It's not safe. It's not good. And once you get into this profession and you learn a few of these things, you should have a very similar mindset to that in order to keep yourself safe, to keep the public safe, and have a long, prosperous career. Because like I said in the beginning of this video, you are no good to anybody if you get hurt or killed on your way to a call to try and help somebody else out, and it's something you need to think about. All right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm not exactly sure when this is gonna come out in the routine of things. I have a patrol vlog that's been done. It's on the chief's desk. I'm waiting for him to review it, and he hasn't gotten back to me yet at the time I'm filming this, so this might come out before that, but it's done. It's ready to go. As soon as he says thumbs up, then I will have it out to you guys. So those are definitely still a thing for right now. I just haven't I haven't heard back from him, and I was a little short on footage from having to recruit. So hopefully this tied you over. Hopefully this answers a few questions of all the people that have made the comments about responding code 3, and that you walk away from this video with a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of understanding. And I will tell you this, guys, if I have the opportunity to film a code 3 response, like that little clip I showed you in the beginning of the video, I happened to have a recruit at that time. We were responding code 3. My camera was already in my lap because I was playing with it, and I said, you know what, and I turned it on. I was able to do it safely and in a manner where I could get a little bit of footage. So so if I get any kind of a situation like that where it can be done safely and in a controlled environment, I have no problem doing it for you. I just definitely don't want you to get your hopes up or expect it to be a normal, regular thing on this channel. All right, as always, I want to thank all of you guys for your continued support. We're up to almost 53,000 subscribers right now. It's absolutely amazing. I'm so appreciative of it. I'm so appreciative of you guys and all the support you show me, and watching the videos and everything, and all the comments. I read them all. I want you guys to know that. I try to get back to as many people as I can. If I haven't gotten back to one of yours, do know that I have read it. I'm at least giving you a thumbs up on it at a minimum. So I just want you guys to know that I appreciate it, and thank you very much for all of your support. All right, guys, so until the next one, you take good care of yourselves and stay safe out there. So for the story time that I told you about in the beginning of this video, when I was a newer officer, probably right around my 2-year mark, there was a call that had come out. It actually came out borderline like a rape in progress. The details of the notes was there was a male and a female in the front yard of this house. I think it was a neighbor who had called it in, said that the male was holding the female down, and it looked like he was physically attacking her in that manner. So of course that comes out as a very high priority call. Dispatch tells you to respond code 3. We turn on our lights and sirens and we start responding. Now again, at my 2-year mark, I was a little more gung-ho, you know, a little bit more pep in my step, so to speak, of just, you know, want to go and do this stuff. And so I put the gas down and we started going. And on my way down this road, it was nighttime, I exceeded speeds of probably 65, probably pushing 70 miles an hour, which you might not think is crazy fast, especially if you're on the interstate. The speed limit's 65 alone. However, this was a smaller in-town street. And now that I look back on it, I feel that the speeds were too much for the conditions of what was going on, being that it was nighttime, being that it was a small road, and like I mentioned earlier in the video, of having much less time to react if something happens. So anyway, as I'm responding, I'm going southbound on this road, coming up to a set of railroad tracks. Now, I knew the railroad tracks were there and that wasn't a concern. However, I had forgotten that there was a small concrete median in this 2-lane road, which was not divided anywhere else. There was this small concrete island just before you got to these railroad tracks, and it was supposed to have one of those little reflective markers, the floppy markers, standing up at the front. That had been knocked off at some time in the past and never been replaced. I had just kind of forgotten that it was there. I was splitting the intersection, which is something that'll be common to do when you're responding code 3. If there are no other vehicles on the road, sometimes you'll take up a double lane or ride that line so you have more reaction time if you had to swerve one way or another. So I'm cruising, going down this road, and I come up and all of a sudden, faster than I can react, I see this thing in the middle of the road, and it's that concrete median. And basically your natural instinct is to swerve around this, because if I didn't, I would have crashed right into it. It would have done tons of damage to the undercarriage of my car, and I would have had a lot of issues when it comes to that. Now, again, it's nighttime, I don't really see anything else around. I swerve, I miss this median. As I swerve, my headlights come over to the side. There is a guy riding his bicycle. He had no lights on his bicycle, but still, all in all, that's really doesn't excuse any of the other things, but I couldn't see him in the distance further up, and I'm not sure that I even would have seen him if he had the lights on, because you start to get that tunnel vision when you're on a mission and you're responding code 3 like that. Anyway, I swerve around this median. Next thing I know, my headlights are pointed at that guy. I was headed straight for him. I swerve back the other way, and when I tell you I missed this guy by inches, I missed this guy by inches. And I think back on it at the time that it happened, and I definitely reflect on it nowadays in life, that a few inches different, and if I had struck that person at the speed I was going, I would, without a doubt, have taken that man's life. He would be dead, and it would have been my fault for out driving a situation that I shouldn't. And at that time, I didn't think that was out driving the situation. To respond 60 miles an hour, 65 miles an hour is really not that big of a deal when you think about it. But for those conditions and the encompassing circumstances, it wasn't a smart thing. Now, to add the icing on the cake for that, once we got to that call of this almost rape in progress, we come to find out that it was, I'm pretty sure it was a boyfriend and a girlfriend. I don't even think it was a husband and wife. However, they were out in the yard, drunk, screwing around, having a good time. It wasn't even a fight. It was somebody else who saw something they thought they saw. Basically, we got there and they were annoyed that we were even bothering them. So now, combine that with the fact of what almost happened. Can you imagine taking somebody's life and at the end of the day find out that the reason you were responding code 3 was actually for no reason at all? And that is one of the hazards of the job. We can only go based on the information we have on the front end. But I'll be the first to tell you, and it's one of the things I teach my recruits all the time, is 80% of the time, I'll give you 75, whatever the call comes out as, it's usually something different when you get there. So that's a lesson that I've learned over the years of doing this, that I try not to get too excited in the beginning, because once you get there, you usually find out there's a lot more to the story than the little bit that came out through dispatch or on the telephone call with these people originally. And you can make some pretty serious decisions on the front end if you get too hyped up and then ultimately find out it was really nothing at all.